SpongeBob fans still argue about this one episode, and honestly, it might be a mistake. Not because it's bad, it's actually clever, funny, and even kind of deep, but because it breaks something you were never supposed to notice. Usually, Squidward is grumpy, SpongeBob is full of energy, and Patrick, well, he's Patrick. But in this episode, that balance breaks. And to see just how strange it gets, you first need to understand how a normal day in Bikini Bottom usually unfolds. Life in Bikini Bottom follows a rhythm most fans know by heart. SpongeBob radiates pure energy, that chaotic sunshine that lights up every corner of town. Squidward, on the other hand, is the thundercloud, the eye-roll factory, the one who keeps the balance by being perpetually irritated. And Patrick, well, Patrick exists somewhere between unpredictability and pure chaos, a wild card who somehow ties it all together. It's a triangle that works perfectly because each character has a clearly defined role, a tension that fuels humor and sets up the perfect stage for disaster. A typical morning illustrates this dynamic better than anything. Squidward sleeps soundly, probably dreaming of peace, quiet, or a world without two hyperactive neighbors. Meanwhile, at precisely 3:47 a.m., SpongeBob and Patrick appear on the side of his bed. They don't knock, they don't wait. They're there to watch the sunrise, as if waking someone up at an ungodly hour is a normal bonding activity. And according to SpongeBob, this isn't a one-off. They have a history, a holiday history. In fact, including a memory book with pictures of kisses on Valentine's Day, complete with lipstick marks. It's absurd, it's creepy, it's hilarious. And Squidward is understandably horrified. Eventually, the chaos escalates. After a solid 3 hours of intrusion, Squidward finally reacts. Not just scolding them, no. He literally launches them over a fence using a picnic catapult and then installs a high-voltage electric fence around his house. A crystal-clear warning. Enough is enough. Yet, as extreme as it sounds, this is exactly the kind of escalation SpongeBob thrives on. The structure is familiar. SpongeBob and Patrick investigate. Squidward suffers, and we, the audience, laugh at the interplay of pain and absurdity. Over dozens of episodes, we've seen this cycle on repeat. It's comforting in its predictability. The town's emotional physics are firmly in place, or at least they used to be. And that brings us to the moment everything starts to shift. The deviation begins with Squidward's electric fence, but in a way no one expects. He zaps himself while trying to keep SpongeBob and Patrick out of his house. It's a brief accident, but the consequences are immediate and profound. The shock rewires his brain in an unexpected way. Suddenly, Squidward's entire personality flips. Gone is the usual grumpiness. He laughs, he smiles, he plays, and he even joins in on the antics he would normally despise. SpongeBob and Patrick, for once, don't seem like nuisances. They're companions, friends, partners in fun, but fun that no longer hurts Squidward. The contrast is jarring. After 5 seasons of misery, watching Squidward genuinely enjoy himself feels strange, even unsettling. The man who spent years barricading his home against 2 overly enthusiastic neighbors is now participating in their games, giggling and embracing absurdity. It's wholesome in a way that feels alien to the show's established rhythm, yet oddly satisfying. The shift forces the audience to confront a different perspective on the characters, one where Squidward experiences joy without the usual comedic punishment. Even the visual cues emphasize the change. Squidward riding in a wagon, his face lit with smiles, asking about scallops nibbling on fingers, being pulled through the town like a happy, spoiled child. It's a sight fans never anticipated. The triangle has been disrupted. The very formula that defines the humor and tension of Bikini Bottom has been broken. And just as the audience begins to process this strange, playful happiness, the episode prepares to push the disruption even further. Slowly, Bikini Bottom begins to feel the ripple effects. At the Krusty Krab, he's handing out free hats to every customer who walks through the door. He greets everyone with relentless cheer, asks far too many questions about people's days, and seems determined to overperform at every task he touches. Walking to work with SpongeBob, he keeps pace right beside him, chattering and laughing as if they've been best friends for life, ignoring personal space entirely. The Squidward who once barricaded himself behind high-voltage fences now radiates accessibility and warmth. For SpongeBob, the shift hits hard. He's used to being the center of chaos, the unchallenged energy source in their trio, the one who sets the tone in work, play, and friendship. Now his role is threatened. Squidward is outshining SpongeBob in ways that feel alien. SpongeBob experiences a subtle but growing unease, a sense that his place in the group is eroding. Even Patrick seems to notice the tension, though in his usual blissfully oblivious way. SpongeBob's laughter is quieter, his movements slightly restrained, his interactions with Squidward tinged with defensiveness. The audience can feel the shift. The emotional ecosystem of the town, built over countless episodes, is under strain. And with Squidward performing so well, the stage is set for an inevitable collision between his cheerful dominance and SpongeBob's fragile sense of identity. The conflict reaches its peak when Squidward effortlessly claims the Employee of the Month award, a symbolic confirmation of his new competence. SpongeBob watches, stunned. He isn't angry over recognition or status alone. The real sting comes from fear, the creeping realization that he might no longer be necessary, that someone else could occupy the role he's defined himself by for years. For the first time, SpongeBob's identity feels shaky. Later, at a celebration that should be entirely his, SpongeBob sits quietly, staring at a slice of cake. The moment is simple, but it resonates emotionally. It's a pause, a reflection of insecurity and loss. The audience feels it because it's relatable. The anxiety of watching someone else step into your world, someone you've always expected to resist or fail, and realizing you have no defense. SpongeBob's breaking point comes in an almost absurdly comic yet emotionally charged scene. He snaps during a pogo dancing moment with Patrick, a physical display of his inner conflict. He kicks Squidward from the party, reclaiming the dance, asserting himself through action. It's egotistical, yes, but also human. In this struggle, the audience sees the true cost of the emotional imbalance introduced by the shock. Squidward's happiness forces SpongeBob into a role he's not prepared to accept, shifting the dynamics in ways the town and its characters aren't equipped to handle. After the chaos peaks, the electric fence comes back into play. As Squidward, now heartbroken and quiet, approaches the electric fence one more time. One jolt to the brain and the balance is restored. Or in a twist only this episode could pull off, SpongeBob and Patrick get zapped too. Suddenly the three of them are back to grumpy, miserable, chaotic versions of themselves. The classic triangle restored in full circle. That's essentially the end of the episode. This episode underscores a simple but essential truth. Balance matters. SpongeBob's brightness, Squidward's misery, Patrick's unpredictability. These forces collide to create comedy, tension, and relatability. When the scales tip too far in one direction, the humor and emotional resonance begin to unravel. The episode exists as a snapshot of what happens when the emotional structure of a show, or even a friendly group, is disrupted. It's clever, chaotic, and a little unsettling, because it exposes the rules that usually operate invisibly in Bikini Bottom. The story closes the loop, leaving the audience with a satisfying sense of order restored, but with a lingering reminder of the havoc that temporary change can cause. Honestly, I really wish they had made a direct sequel. I'd pay to see an episode where all three of them are just dissing everybody, full-blown, no holding back. And this leads directly into why some fans see this episode as a mistake, despite the clever writing and humor it delivers. Many feel SpongeBob is shown as too selfish here. One tweet put it bluntly: SpongeBob is the worst character in Breath of Fresh Squidward. Squidward is happy, and SpongeBob yells at him for having fun. Another notes, it's Squidward's party, not his, yet he makes it all about himself. Fans see him as self-centered, unable to let someone else have a moment of joy. Although this isn't the first time, previous episodes toyed with role reversals, like Opposite Day or The Two Faces of Squidward, but those changes were temporary or superficial. Squidward didn't genuinely stay happy or competent. They were disguises or fleeting privileges. This episode, however, plays the reversal straight, with SpongeBob and Squidward acting naturally in their altered roles, which disrupts the emotional physics of the town. The philosophical takeaway is subtle but crucial. The rules of Bikini Bottom can bend but not break. Joy and misery are assigned, and the show's comedic engine depends on maintaining that balance. Squidward can taste happiness, but only temporarily, because the triangle demands equilibrium. The episode reveals a hidden truth. You can change the players, but the game itself remains constant. And that's all for now. This episode is clever, funny, and surprisingly thought-provoking. Squidward's sudden change turns everything upside down. SpongeBob struggles to find his place, and Patrick, he keeps being Patrick. Tell us what you think of this episode. If you enjoyed diving into this wild SpongeBob moment, hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss more deep dives into Bikini Bottom's chaos.